Hello, the price of commodities keep going up and the cost of living keeps getting higher. This is due to a phenomenon called inflation. In today's video, we are going to look deep into inflation, its causes, effects, and if by any chance it can be reversed. My name is Ian Odhiambo and welcome. So what's this inflation? What's this thing that makes you want to scream every time you go to the shopping center or anytime you want to add gas into your cars? What's this thing that makes the government talk about it every time and try to reassure the citizens? Well, in this video today, we are going to expound more on it. In simple terms, inflation is a general increase of prices of goods and commodities in an economy. To make it more clear, inflation is when, say, last year, 1,000 shillings could buy more things than this year. There are three main types of inflation, and all of them are classified to what might have caused them. The first type of inflation is called the demand pull inflation. It occurs when an increase in supply of money and credit stimulates the overall demand for goods and services in an economy. This increases more rapidly than the economy's production capacity. In 2020, the American government printed more money to help its citizens who had suffered through the coronavirus pandemic. We know many people lost their livelihoods and many people could not access money because, what they were doing, either they were laid off or they lacked customers, for lack of a better word for it. So the American government saw it fit to print money to give it to the citizens as a stimulant package, and that was presided over by the current President Joe Biden. What happened was the citizens had more money in their pockets than the economy could produce the goods they wanted from. For instance, many people wanted to buy, say, iPhone. If you wanted to buy iPhone, you'll find that you're not the only one who wants the iPhone. There's so many other people out there who also want the iPhone. And Apple probably didn't have the capacity to produce all those iPhones. So what they did was to increase the price of iPhone so that at least the least amount of people could get the iPhone. I know that is counterintuitive, but sadly, that's how the economy works. And so that's the demand pull inflation. The second type of inflation is called cost push inflation. And this is a result of an increase in prices working through the production process input. For instance, if you own a manufacturing plant and all of a sudden the cost of iron has gone up, the cost of electricity has gone up, the cost of diesel has gone up, chances are, or pretty much 100%, the cost of producing whatever you're producing will also go up by a certain factor. And since you're in business and you don't want to run out of business, you'll be forced to increase the prices of whatever you're making. If the prices were selling for, say, $10, you'll have to sell it at $15, at least to recoup what you used to produce it and to make some small margin of profit out of it. And that's what has been happening of late. You see, the Ukrainian war has made the price of oil to go so up. So many people who are in the manufacturing and production industry have to make profits to stay afloat. And what do? They pass on the prices of commodities to the customers. So ultimately, the customers are forced to be the people to pay for the prices of everything that is going bad with the economy. So that's the second type of inflation. It's called the cost push inflation. The third type of inflation is called the built-in inflation, and this is related to adaptive expectation, the idea that people expect current inflation rates to continue in the future. As the price of goods and services rises, workers and others come to expect that they will continue to rise in the future at a similar rate and demand more cost or wages to maintain their standards of living. It's more or less like forecasting, where let's use some practical example. If there is a forecast of drought coming to your local area in the coming days, a lot of people will buy tanks or will have some safety net, and in those tanks they will try to fill in as much water to prepare for the drought. While they do that, they increase they take more water that could have been used by other people, and as a result of that, many people will lack water. So that's the same thing that happens in the financial world, where people will see inflation is coming. Well, it's not there, but then they're just trying to prepare themselves psychologically. And if you are really good in economics, you'll understand that money as it stands has no intrinsic value. The value of money is based upon what we as human beings perceive it to be. So if money is worth, say, 100 pounds, and we believe it's 100 pounds, then it will be 100 pounds. There's nothing that makes money be 100 pounds apart from just the belief of it. So if we believe that inflation will come, certainly we'll behave as if we want it to come, and pretty much it will come. So yeah, those are the three types of inflation, and the next segment we are going to talk about what causes inflation, and is this inflation reversible, or is it just destined to doom? Before we talk about if inflation can be reversed or not, I think it's good we talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of inflation. Crazy as it may seem, inflation does have a good side, and those good sides favor those who are selling, as you'll find out. So one of its good side is it leads to a higher resale value of assets. As you can think about it, if inflation happens, say if you're a manufacturer or you own a manufacturing plant, then it will be good for you, because if you are selling something at $10 initially and today you start selling it at $15, you realize your sales will also go up, right? By about $5 per item you're selling. So from a seller perspective, that's a good thing. Another good advantage of inflation is optimum levels of inflation encourages spending. If the inflation reaches its optimum level, then people will have more money in their pockets, and that will result to more spending culture. I don't know if that's good or bad for you, but personally I don't think that's a good idea, though it's listed as one of the advantages of inflation. Well, the disadvantages of inflation, as a buyer, we all know the disadvantages of the cost of commodities going up, especially if your wages and salaries are not going as high as you'd have expected them to be. So some of the disadvantages of inflation, they include buyers have to pay more for products and services. That's a bit obvious when something all of a sudden adds $5 to itself, then you have to spend $5 more from, say, your limited salary that you earn. Another thing, it imposes higher prices on the economy. Again, if the price of commodities go up, then chances are the cost of living will also go up, and that is not a good thing, especially if the salary still remains constant. With regards to whether inflation can be reversed or not, well, the good news is inflation can be reversed. The bad news is it will take a lot of input from everyone. I think to reverse inflation requires input from everyone, not just government institutions. So how can we reverse inflation? First of all, we have to have a very good monetary policy. And by that, I mean a monetary policy that is centralized and has a very good functionality. By functionality, I mean generally increases the interest rate that reduces investment and economic growth. So if you have a very good central bank, the interest rate will discourage people from taking lots of loans, and if you don't take lots of loans, there will be reduced money in circulation, and if there's reduced money in circulation, then the demand of items will not be as high, and if the demand of items are not as high, then there'll be a price drop of items. If something was say £15 or $15, then all of a sudden the manufacturer notices that not so many people want it, he'll try to reduce the prices so that more people can come and buy it, right? The second way to reverse inflation is the money supply. So the government needs to take money out of the market through the central bank, and that will reduce the money in circulation. It's sad that to reduce inflation is not a happy thing. It's actually very tough on the people, because now if there's little money in circulation, it means you have to work twice as hard as you initially had to make the same living or to make the same amount of money. The third way of reversing inflation is having a very good fiscal policy, that is increasing taxes and reducing the spending of a country. Unfortunately, currently many countries in the world are very big on borrowing, and if you borrow, then you increase the amount of money in your circulation, in your economy, and if you have enough more money, as we discussed earlier, then it will cause, oh my god, I'm saying cause, look at me, it will cause more people to have money, and if you have more money, then there'll be more spending power in the economy, and if there is more spending power, then things will go up. In a nutshell, inflation applies the basic economic principle of demand and supply, and in this sense, the demand and supply is caused about by money. And money is now the commodity that is used to control the prices of everything. So I hope this video has been a learning process for all of you. I enjoyed making it because in the process of making it, I also learned a few things that I hadn't known earlier on. If this is your kind of thing, I'll urge you to subscribe to this channel, to like, and probably share it with your friends. Together with the financial videos, I also make videos about my travels. I also make videos about my experience. I'm a civil engineering student. Hopefully, I'll be a civil engineer in the coming years. So if this is your kind of thing or things, as I've listed initially, I'd love you to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Until next time, it's me, Ian Odhiambo. Bye.